Оставил в крупном ресторане. Там сколько выпусков и был с вагончиком. Да, литературный персонаж. Да, это 12 студия.
Да. Я читал, но
Well, do you know who Joseph Stalin was?
No?
Joseph Stalin.
Stalin?
Stalin. You do know who it was? Yeah. So this is the former spiritual college. Joseph Stalin was taught here, but eventually he was expelled. Бывшая тибетская духовная семинария. Да.
Ты можешь по-английски говорить, я не понимаю.
Если что не понимаете, расскажите. So this is a greatest Russian poet, Alexander Pushkin. Is a park of Alexander Pushkin. Pushkin was twice in Georgia in 1829. So do you know who Vladimir Lenin was? Vladimir Lenin, the guy who created... Yeah, right. So the former name of the square was Lenin Square. In the very middle, in 1956, a statue of Vladimir Lenin was erected. It was removed in 1990. By the way, there is a famous Soviet joke. Some people say it's a true story. One Soviet tourist was walking around when he was crossing this park, and he saw the statue of Pushkin. He slapped his hand on his forehead and exclaimed, "I didn't know Pushkin right here." One random Georgian guy who heard that pointed at the statue of Lenin and replied, "Body of Lenin very dead." By the way, all around you will see such trees with a white trunk, plane tree in English. In American English, they call it sycamore tree. Hello, ma'am. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Это платан на французском, на турецком чинак начинаю. На английском выйти, как русское дело. Платан на французском, платон. Это курицы, американцы называют делать бесстыжее дерево. Его называют бесстыдница, беда, без горы. So where from, sir? Well, this is the main avenue of our city, avenue of Shota Rustaveli. Shota Rustaveli was the greatest Georgian medieval poet. He was the author of the Georgian national poem, The Knight in the Panther Skin. Knight, I mean K-N-I-G-H-T, warrior, horseman. So, do you know what the Viceroy is? Viceroy, yeah. So the former name of the street was the Street of the Viceroy. Until 1918, Georgia was Caucasian Viceroyalty in the 9th century. The Viceroy was the deputy Russian Tsar for this area. By the way, that white building over there, it's of the former palace of the Viceroy, Michael Vorontsov.
Okay.
Yeah.
Protest.
It takes place here. This Viceroy это на месте на Кавказе. Рой это на латинском царь, а Вайс это место царя. То есть это бывший французский дворец, белое здание. Построил русский архитектор Семенов, потом отреставрирован немецкий архитектор Ода Симонсон. Well, this is the Georgian History Museum, right side. And this glass building in front of you, it's the second oldest building in the capital. It's a hotel built more. Height is 150 meters. By the way, the shape of the skyscraper, имитирует там, big like. The большой палец изображает вот это, стеклянный. Это парламент. The Georgian Parliament building is open architecture because it's architectural style Stalin's classicism or social realism or Stalin's Ampi. Ampi is the empire in French. So this is a church of Saint George. It was built in the beginning of the 20th century. Это голубая галерея. По сути, это музей Нетопира Свань по правую сторону. Well, this white building on the right side is so-called Blue Gallery. Blue Gallery. It's a museum of Nikopir Osmani. Nikopir Osmani was a famous Georgian self-taught painter.
What's the name? Tata.
Sorry?
What's the name?
T-A-T-A. Tata is Georgian female name. Actually, Tata, it's derived from the Russian female name, Tatiana. In Georgian, we say Tata. So this is St. Walker Ballet. On the right side is the powerful building. It was opened in 1896. We call this architectural style pseudo-Moorish, if you know the meaning of the word. The Spanish called Arabs Moors, M-W-R. На русском псевдо-мавританский число. Well, this is the museum of the arts of Zurab Tsereteli. Zurab Tsereteli is the guy who erected the statue of Saint George in the middle of Freedom Square in 2006. So Saint George, the patron saint of this country. So Moscow city of England, Greece, Ethiopia. Well, this is the Hotel Biltmore. I already showed you the skyscraper. By the way, this yellow building below, it's a former Soviet educational college. They called it EMELS. It stands for Institute of Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, Lenin and Stalin. So it's an olive tree. It's a gift of the Pope of Rome to our church. The age of the olive tree is 400 years. In Jerusalem, it was for 350 years, in Europe for 50 years. So this is a square of the first Democratic Republic of Georgia. It was opened in 1983. By the way, the head of the KGB in 1983 was Yuri Andropov. When Andropov arrived here, 7 arcs were erected in the square because this square was for military parades. And during those parades, so-called Khrushchevkas were in the background. Khrushchevka, the low-cost Soviet company building. And to hide that, they erected 7 arcs. But to the locals, those arcs looked like the building with hearing aids. They dubbed those arcs Andropov's ears. In 2005, they were removed. So this statue of a bike was placed here in 2011 by a French sculptor Jean Dupas. It has 2 saddlebags, handlebars. So some people speculate that it means that we're at the crossroads of Europe and Asia and look in both directions, and we are still unsafe where to go. So on the left side, Tbilisi metro, two subway, there's 4 subway from Logic, post-Soviet area. The first one, the Moscow metro, was opened in 1965. The second one, the Leningrad metro, St. Petersburg, was opened in 1955. And the second one, the Kiev metro, was opened in 1960. The Tbilisi metro was opened in 1966. We have 2 lines and 2 stations. So, how do you see this? Yeah. So this high tower on the left side is very similar to Stockholm City Hall. It's so-called Stalin's high tower. In Moscow, the 7 high towers. These are referred to 7 sisters. So this TV tower on the mountain was projected in Kiev, Ukraine, in 1971. Actually, there's a Paris Road and then the park. By the way, we have mentioned of the word Tbilisi. What it means logically.
No.
It means a warm place. Warm place. It refers to subterranean thermal springs. Then according to the legend, were discovered in the 5th century AD. And the legend says that our Stalin wanted these springs to take the health of the guard, and during his the peasants is very crucial to pick up. And when those were they fell down because hot steam was rising and got cooked, got smeared inside. But actually it can be true. The maximum temperature of those hot springs is 45 degrees Celsius. It's impossible either for a peasant or for a sparrowhawk to be smeared inside. The real reason why the king transferred the capital from Creta to Tbilisi was that the city was situated on the major trade route, the Great Silk Road across the city. So this is the Tbilisi Philharmonic Hall, concert hall. It was opened in 1971. This roundish one. Actually, the first rock festival, first rock concert in the Soviet Union was held in this building, 1980. You know, some Russian rock bands, there's Time Machine, Party, Autograph. So this lady in front of the building is a statue of a muse. In Greek mythology, there are 9 muses, 9 daughters of Zeus. So this statue holds 9 masks, and these masks symbolize its muse. By the way, side words is music and museum also derive from the name of those Greek goddesses. So this is cinema Amirani. Amirani is a Georgian culture hero. He's very similar to the Greek Prometheus. Like Titan Prometheus, Amirani was also bound to the Caucasus Mountains and was never released, like Prometheus. So now we're getting closer to the Hero Square. Initially, That square was named after the first heroes of the Soviet Union, the Soviet pilots who rescued the crew of the Soviet steamship that became ice-trapped in Arctic waters in 1934. The name of the steamship was Chelusky, the crew of Chelusky. So this whole building on the right side, it's a former Ministry of Agriculture. It's under restoration, and they're building Hotel Hilton inside. This is Hero Square. By the way, in the very middle there's a monumental built. That monument was erected by a Spanish architect, Alberto Domingo Cabo, dedicated to soldiers who died in the wars of modern history, 1992-1993, the war in Abkhazia, in 2008, the war in South Ossetia. At night, this monument lights up, it looms. It's a metaphor that the souls of those dead soldiers are there. By the way, on the left side, behind the frame, is a circus, right there, by those stairs. Circus, yeah. Well, this is the street of Queen Tamar. Queen Tamar was the greatest Georgian territory. One of the representatives of the Golden Age of Georgia. The 12th century was the Golden Age of Georgia. Queen Tamar was the great granddaughter of King David the Builder. This hotel on the left side was named after King David. It's not Israeli King David, Georgian king who reigned in Georgia. The breakdown of Queen Tamar. By the way, in Georgian we say King Tamar, not Queen. It is a masculine noun, not feminine, to glorify her even more. So, built the teaching classes on the right side, the Ministry of Defense. By the way, in the very middle of our play, same restaurant of Great Britain, in front of St. George. Our flag is Christ. We call the Order of the Bloods for Evangelists. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Joe. Yeah, Embassy of Israel over there. Well, this is a square. This area is neighborhood. It's called Çukureti. This name derives from a Turkish word. Çukur means pit in Turkish, hole in the ground. In the beginning of the 19th century, it was a big German settlement, Neu Tiflis, and many buildings were built by the Germans. But actually, when I say German, I don't mean only German, because you see, in the 19th century, the Russians called Germans mute person. In modern Russian, German means a dumb person can't speak. So Russians called all Europeans mute because they couldn't speak Russian. Немец, да. То есть немцы. So this is the avenue of David the Builder. By the way, the former name of this avenue was the street of the Grand Duke Michael Romanov. Michael Romanov was son of Nicholas I of the Russian Emperor. In 1918, the street was named after Georgy Plekhanov. Georgy Plekhanov was a famous Marxist theorist. He died in Finland in 1918 by tuberculosis. So the street was renamed in 1990 after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. But the former name stuck, and many taxi drivers still call the street Plekhanov Street and not the avenue of David the Builder. So this white building with a white dome on the left side, this is the first cinema in Georgia. It was opened in 1909. Its initial name was Apollo. Apollo was god of the sun in Greek mythology. And then it was renamed into October in Soviet times. Because you see, in Soviet times they labeled everything either October or Lenin. In October 1917, Russian king was executed. So it's not Medusa, as many people think, on the facade of the building. The theatrical mask. This is a musical center of Jansu Kahidze. Jansu Kahidze was famous Georgian conductor, composer. By the way, his baton, do you know what a baton is? Conductor stick. Is kept in Italy, in the house of Giuseppe Verdi. And this white building on the left side is a former Calter Hotel railway man. Now there's a musical theater inside. By the way, the red signal of the traffic light in the street flashes hard symbol. It goes hard, like this. It's a symbol of our hospitality.